Yeah, good morning. That was a fast 24 hours, was it not? It is already 6:30 this morning as we embark on the last day of July. Can you believe August is tomorrow? School's starting very, very soon. I believe it's next week, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to get used to school buses again. That'll be coming very, very soon there. Hot weather expected today. Be ready for this as we'll have heat indexes around that 110 mark once again. Complete look at the forecast just up and coming in a few moments there. It's going to be a great day. I don't know if y'all saw this picture that I posted just a moment ago. Jonathan Wells sent this. He was out at Oak Tibby this morning. Look at that. Is that not gorgeous? Just a small reminder of what God's power is. Without a doubt there. Speaking of, let's go ahead and get a good word from the Lord up above and go out to Collinsville. Let's go to the First Baptist, get our message of the day. We'll be right back with headlines shaping America. Let's go there now.
In the 2021-2022 season, wide receiver Antonio Brown quit on his team, the Tampa Bay Bucks, during the middle of a game. Brown later went on to say that he was hurt, well, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But all you have to do is Google this incident, and you can watch a video on YouTube of how he acted. He took off his jersey, his pads, his gloves, and other gear, throwing them into the crowd. He then left the playing field, running in the end zone, making gestures towards the crowd. Look, regardless of the hearsay, the fact remains that, man, he just quit on his team. That's never commendable. For those of us who claim Christ, look, we won't be perfect, but we can't quit on our team either. 2 John 8:9 says this, "Watch yourselves so that you don't lose what we have worked for, but that you may receive a full reward. Anyone who does not remain in Christ's teaching, but goes beyond it, does not have God. The one who remains in that teaching, this one has both the Father and the Son." Long story short, we can't claim to be followers of Christ and then abandon His Word and His teachings. These are incompatible. This does not mean that you can lose your salvation. Of course not. But what it does mean is that if you're saved and if you're in Christ, our lives will tell the tale. If they don't, we got to look in and evaluate who we are. There's great comfort at the end of verse 9, right? If we press on, if we continue strong, that will be an indicator of our faith and hope being anchored in Christ. May you press on as you serve Jesus because change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Brother JJ there with our message this morning. How are you doing? I see it's 6:33 as we embark on this day together. What lies ahead? Well, let's hope it's all good for us as this day develops. Again, 74 right now as we wait for a high of about 96. Heat index should be 107 by this afternoon. For those of you at the Neshoba County Fair, I feel for you. It's going to be hot. Afternoon rain chances fall in somewhere late, 4 to 5 p.m. is what we're looking at on that. So if you've got grass to cut, could be a wet one late. As we look at headline shaping America, we see that Puerto Rico has declared an emergency this morning over water shortages. The National Guard has been activated. Hopefully they'll get that fixed before long there. The federal interest rate is going to be held steady. It's not going to be changes as much as Trump has urged them to lower. They're not budging. It's going to stay the same for now. Not sure what the reason is, but that's what's going on there. This really makes a lot of sense if you sit back and don't let the headline shock you of what I'm about to say that comes out of Florida this morning. And I almost want to say hang on just a little bit longer till we get it furthermore straightened out. Governor Ron DeSantis tells us that the federal government should redo the latest U.S. Census. Think about that. It says California would lose a lot of seats due to illegal aliens. Now think about that, and the states that would. I don't know what the cost of this would be to redo, but my oh my, it would reshape probably some politics, some major ones there. California might not be as strong. We have had a ton of people voting in our elections and being counted as Americans that were not. What do you think? Ron DeSantis makes a lot of sense. Nissan has closed their first production overseas. Their first plant has been shut down as they revamp. They've got some issues going on with Nissan, and, well, they're trying to fix those from bankruptcy. Y'all remember George Stephanopoulos? It seems like he was it Bill Clinton that he worked for at the White House? Or was it Obama? I'm not sure which one that he worked for. It was one of those. He now works for, I believe, NBC or Good Morning America. I feel for him on this. Yesterday, while going to work, he was, hung in an elevator for about an hour. Yeah, I wouldn't like that. And I think there's a lot of people, I'm not real sure if it's the closed, I don't like it when I can't leave somewhere because of what could happen. Closed space, yeah, I don't like that. Horrible news out of California as we have a F-35 that has crashed. Now, the pilot was able to eject in time. This was near Lemoore, Central California, there at that base. But the pilot's okay. Plane crash, no one hurt. Not sure yet if it was mechanical failure or what went on. Let's see here. This needs to be addressed. I'm going to show the picture of the young lady, and it needs to be said. We brought this up yesterday morning. Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been through there. When you drop off that hill going into Cincinnati, WKRP, y'all remember that on the air? As you come out of Kentucky, you drop down a steep hill, and you can't exactly see it until it levels off, and there's this big bridge you have to go through. And when you get on the other side of that bridge, you better be sure where you're headed because it's like lanes everywhere. Have your GPS ready of where you need to go. But a councilwoman in Cincinnati, and let me do this. She stated that I think it was 4 or 5 people that were beat up, that were minding their own business, and they were beat by people in Cincinnati. And she said they begged for it. They were just walking down the street. Now let me show you This is from a post from Twitter. And we'll show it. It's one of the girls that was beat bad. This comes from Eric Daltrey. He got permission from the girl to release the photos. She had sent them to him. And it's one on the left, and then on the right is a councilwoman. And it doesn't show her face very well, but it does show the girl that was hit for no reason. As you pull this up, look at that. That is not okay. It doesn't matter how you vote, what you do. Attacking somebody for no reason is not right. And we do not need people in leadership roles that think that it's okay. There lies our problem in America. There's only one way that can be handled, and that's by voting. Maybe it goes back to what we said a minute ago, of those who've been counted in census that have voted in the past that should not have voted. I don't know how they get elected. But that's not right. Even if it's your party, you can't say that that's the right thing to say, that somebody should have been whooped for no reason. I can't. We go to Atlanta, the FBI. Boy, this ought to make you mad. FBI has arrested a guy. He stole $9.6 million in the PPP loans. Y'all remember that? And then he hid 3.4 through tax fraud. He had elaborate houses, cars, things that, the rest of us can only see on a television set or online. Our tax dollars stolen. That's what that was. It was yours. And it doesn't matter the amount that you put in. Each of us put in a certain percentage of our paycheck each month, and have somebody steal. That's wrong. He should spend a lot of time in jail. Let's hope he does. Fort Hood has officially been renamed Fort Hood. I don't even remember the name of whoever it was that they named it for a short period, but Fort Hood's name has been restored. They've done the unveiling on that. The Chicago Sun-Times has announced that U.S. Representative Danny Davis will not seek re-election after 29 years. He was a senator from Illinois. He's not going to be seeking it. He's 83. He's going to retire. That's good. And I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm fixing to say. Never push it to where you can't enjoy life. There's so many people, and there's two sides to this. Some people, their job is their life, and it makes them happy, it makes them live longer, while others work, and they retire, and then you pass away. Then 2 weeks later, you never get to enjoy life. Balance that out. Enjoy life. If work is your life, then more power to you. but enjoy the things that God has given us as you can. This comes as no shock to me. We watched a failed presidential run, and Kamala Harris is who I'm talking about. A lot of money was raised. There was a lot of giggling that went on. She got beat pretty bad. Then we've heard for the last, 8-9 months that she was probably going to run for governor of California. Nope. Here's her quote on that. In recent months, I have been given serious thoughts to asking the people of California for their privilege to serve as their governor. I love the state, its people, and its promise. It's my home, but after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not run for governor in this election. Kamala Harris. What she left out was all her analysts have put it, they've run the numbers, and, well, she can't win. That is why she is saying she is not going to run. And if I've learned anything about politics, of being more involved in it in the last, say, 7 or 8 years, is never make a prediction. You can be wrong. An election can look one way and whoop, watch him, boy. But her numbers tell her she can't win, and that's why she's not going to. And I'm not quite sure how to even say this, but so I'll say it very delicately. Again, the National Association of Basketball Players for Women, Women's NBA, has come up. There's been a lot of stories about it here lately. And this was at a game between the Golden State Valkyries and the Atlanta Dream. They had to pause the game, and a lot of you may already know what I'm about to say. An object was thrown on the basketball court, and they had to pause everything. It wasn't just a ordinary, and I'm really trying to it kind of makes me uncomfortable. It was the only way I noticed it was a sex toy thrown on the court. We'll leave it at that, and they had to pause the game, and someone had to be the person to go get that. The hiking trail, you've heard us talking about this. This happened in Arkansas. It was a husband and wife. They were 41, 43. They'd gone on a hiking trip. They've arrested someone. He's 28, and he has been arrested. The Arkansas State Police have released his photo. He was actually getting his hair cut when he was arrested. On top of that, he is a newly hired teacher. Now, I don't know the rest of the story of what the connection is. Here he is, 28 there. Again, they'll word it as a suspect in Devil's Den double homicide of a husband and wife. Comes straight from Arkansas. Could it have been something random? It could have been, but usually it's not. There's a reason. We'll find out more about this hopefully today. You don't do this. I like this guy. He's one of those no-nonsense politicians that speaks up when he talks. Jim Jordan, do y'all know who I'm talking about? I like him a lot. An Ohio man has been charged with threatening to harm and kill him because he didn't like the way that Jim Jordan voted on Medicaid cuts. You need to know that. And I wish we have another political story coming up, and I should have put those two together so we could talk about that. But we'll have another political story coming up in just a moment. Just because somebody doesn't vote the way you do, don't do stupid things, and I guess that's the word for it. Do y'all remember the Colorado dentist? We've talked about him several times. That was slowly poisoning his wife. She was 43 years old. He just decided that he wanted another wife. As we dig into this, and allegedly he'd been having affairs since they got married. They had several children, but he didn't want her, and he slowly poisoned her with over-the-counter drugs. He has been found guilty, and he will serve the rest of his natural-born life in prison. To me, that's not good enough. Capital punishment should have been put in this. And they say it's life without parole, without possibility of parole ever, without the possibility of parole. Still not good enough. He will live and breathe air. She will not. It's not fair in any shape, form, or way. Anybody got Facebook stock? Anybody got any of that? It's climbed 10% in the last few days. It's nearing $700 per share once again. That's pretty strong. Let's see what else we've got going on this morning. Acting ugly here. Let's see. We have one man that is going to be serving some time behind jail bars. He was one of those. Actually, it's winding up as I go back and remember this whole story here. Air flight. You're in midair and someone tries to open the cabin of a door, the outside door. It's horror, isn't it? Well, he tried that. He attempted. He was arrested. He spent the last 28 months in jail. He has been served. Found guilty of all that. The judge says that those 2 years in jail will serve his time served. He'll be given parole, and he'll be watched. He could have taken out a lot of lives. I'm not sure I 100% agree with all that. But again, that's part of it there. Let's see what else has happened this morning. Do you remember the gunman that was attempting to go to the NFL headquarters and do harm? You know what I'm talking about? This guy that killed 4 people, including an off-duty police officer and then himself. As they dig into this, the guy that sold him the gun, and it was not anything planned. He sold him his car. He worked with the guy, sold him his car, and he sold him a gun that he used. You never know what's in people's intentions are, do you? Now, I don't seriously see that the guy that sold him that should be charged with anything. I don't think he did anything wrong. That's been done many, many times. Now, as I mentioned just a moment ago, there's a story that kind of tied to the Jim Jordan thing of making threats against a politician. This happened in Virginia yesterday. And a Virginia city councilman was at his desk. A guy came into his office, doused him with gasoline. And you know where the story is going, don't you? He lit it. And as we look at this, the suspect being charged in this is Danville police report 29-year-old Shotzi Michael Buck. He's been formally charged with attempted first-degree murder, aggravated wound on the city councilman. Lee Vogler is the guy's name that he attacked, Lee Vogler. Hayes is a citizen of the UK, but is legally a U.S. resident with a green card because he was married to an American citizen, and his wife has filed for divorce as of July the 14th, so he was going through a divorce. I don't know what his problem was with the councilman, but dousing someone with gasoline, that is attempted murder. Green card, you say. What else do we have here? We'll come back to that one tomorrow. The Senate has voted down a deal that would be a ban on selling Israel arms. Democrats were trying to support this, and it has been voted down. Things will continue as usual. We have a German Olympian who has died during a climbing accident. That's bad. She was German. It happened there. Her name was Laura Dahlhammer. It happened in Pakistan. So sad for her family that could happen there. Also, a former NBA star, Gilbert Arenas, faces federal charges in connection with illegal gambling ring. What we do in our spare time. The father that was accused of killing that 9-year-old girl. Do y'all remember that? He's going to be charged also with falsely claiming she was kidnapped. In court, he has filed that he is not guilty, or claimed, rather. We'll see what the jury has to say about that. We have another person. This is Alaska. We've been seeing a lot of this happening lately. Bears. A second person has been attacked by a black bear walking their dog in Alaska. Stuff is serious, y'all. Canada will join the UK in trying to recognize Palestine as a nation. Canada, I think, at this point will do anything to go against what the United States wants. Here's that picture, and I meant to show this a second ago as we go to Arkansas State Police. That's that guy that is accused, that 28-year-old. We'll read more about that. My. 25 people. This is a lot of people for being on an airplane, and I've been on one where it's just a little bit of turbulence. 25 people were hospitalized after significant turbulence on a Delta flight headed from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam. You don't know when it's going to happen, but boy, when it does, it's painful there. We also have a teenager this morning that has been hurt at Yellowstone, at the geyser. I believe that's how you say it, Old Faithful up in there. They have significant thermal burns. They were walking on a trail and some crust went through and a foot went in. They have been hospitalized. Certainly hope he'll be okay. UCLA, well, over $6 million to settle a lawsuit. They have agreed to do that over those protests. Shame, shame. That's a few of the headlines we've got this morning. We're coming back with your forecast in just a moment to get you updated. We'll be right back as this morning gets underway here at the Scotty Ray Report.
Hi, this is Nick at Doc's Toyota, and we are excited to put you in a new Toyota today. We have no dealer markup, no hidden fees, no hassle, and our inventory is always priced to move. Our top-notch sales department and first-class service after the sale guarantees you a fast and comfortable buying experience like you've never had. So come see why month after month, more and more customers have chose to buy from Doc's Toyota. So come see us here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia, at docstoyota.com or on Facebook. And remember, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
For over 40 years, you've been able to count on Watt Equipment in DeKalb, Mississippi. They've got your Massey Ferguson's brand new 23 up to 135 horse cab and air tractors. They've got all your hay equipment needs, all your bush hogs. If your tractor needs it, they got it. Also remember, they service all makes and models, whether it's green, orange, blue, red, or yellow. They can get your parts in, they can do your service on your equipment. Don't forget Watt Equipment, DeKalb, Mississippi.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
As we look at our record highs and lows, way back in 1896, we had a high of 102 today. Whoof! Again, now today's highs will be somewhere around 96, heat index of 107. Back in 65, we had a low of 62 on this date. Well, as we look at this is coming in from the Jackson office there, 95. This was a little bit earlier. They hadn't updated it. We're sitting at somewhere around 96 for that high today. Rain chances heavier from Philadelphia to Louisville, taking in Macon, all the way down to Laurel. So if you're in that eastern side of Mississippi, good chance you'll get wet there. We'll see 94 in Demopolis. The same in Birmingham, and somewhere around Auburn, a little bit cooler there with War Eagle at 91. This is what we got for this heat index today. Look at that. We're expecting it to be somewhere around 110 today. They're already saying 107 to 109, and then back toward Jackson a little bit hotter. As we look at tomorrow's heat stress, we'll see that, well, more of the area starts to calm down to that 110 mark. We'll see some heavy, heavy heat there from Jackson due south all the way to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Now, do I think that we're going to get an increase on this? I do. It's going to be hotter. That's the outlook there. More hot weather coming from Texas, and our 7-day forecast calls that high to be 96 today. 60% chance of rain, most likely to fall sometime after 4 o'clock this afternoon in those evening hours there. By tomorrow, we've got more of the same, almost an identical forecast of 60% chance of rain. Maybe the high only at 94. We'll watch it, and nighttime lows around 72, and then we'll kind of level off at a high of around 90 for a few days there. Lows right around 70 with chances of rain each day, anywhere from 60 to 30% chance of rain through next Wednesday. Now let's go another week into this all the way to the 14th, and we'll show that highs are in the mid-90s and we'll hit those 70s there with, well, 20% chances of rain, majority being the worst all the way through about mid-month. So some sprinkles at best is what we'll call that. As we go out to Clarkdale, what's happening with the fishing forecast today? Not bad at all. Your best times to fish will be at 5 o'clock this afternoon through about 7 p.m. A minor time today around 11 and good through about lunchtime. Now, the wind's going to be calm, becoming west-southwest around 5 miles an hour this afternoon. Sunrise happened at 6:08 this morning. Sunset rolls in at 7:53 this afternoon. Nothing going on as we go to the National Hurricane Center. That is good news that we don't have anything happening there in the Gulf of America. I'm glad of that. And let's go back and take a look at radar this morning. morning before we get ready to head off into the next show this morning. Here's what we have showing up today as we pull up Doc's Toyota radar. Look at all of that massive heat stress here. Now, again, as you'll see there, until 8 p.m., significant heat. Be careful, be careful, be careful. We do have a lot of fog here around Macomb, Mississippi this morning, from Columbia down to the state line over to Poplarville. So be careful in those areas there with that thick, thick fog. A little bit thicker there from Bogalusa over to Franklin, and as you get into Louisiana, in those areas there from Hammond, all that around Kentwood. Be careful. There is fog in the neighborhood. And again, we're sitting right now at 74 as we wait for the day to show. Coming up, we'll have the Jimmy Rogers Foundation in with us this morning. We've got a newly elected director. We're here to find out more about that today. Plus, Odie has made it in. We're making coffee. How about you? We'll be right back as the morning show gets underway in just a moment. Join us, won't you? It all begins at 7.